Hi, and welcome to Preppy Maths. Preppy Maths is a maths channel that's for anybody who wants to be better prepared for your mathematics. I know that some people have had a few problems with school closures, and so I'm going to hope to run a 10-week course. I'll put some videos up every week aimed at students maybe 9, 10, 11, 12 years old, but anyone really, anyone who has a bit of a love of maths or enjoys maths. We're going to be looking at maths problem solving skills, thinking skills, not just kind of methods and rote learning things, but really having a think about how maths works. And I'm going to use some of my favorite math sites. We're going to start today with a number task from enrich.maths.org, run by the University of Cambridge, an amazing resource that you can use. And here's a great problem. So we're going to get straight into it. Week 1, lesson 1, let's get going. You can see here, it says we've got the number 747 can be formed by adding a 3-digit number with its reversal. It's reversal. So we changed around the order, forwards to backwards, backwards to forwards. Okay, and so we take 621, we reverse it, 126, and we do this addition. In the units, 1 plus 6 is 7. In the tens, 2 tens plus 2 tens, 4 tens. In the hundreds, 6 hundreds plus 100, 700, and we end up with that number 747. Great, you might think this is fantastic, easy, I can do this, but this is more than that. It's more than just a technique. We're going to be mathematically thinking and problem solving. So let's have a look. Can you find the other 2 ways of making 747 in this way? Now, unlike many other YouTube videos, I'm going to ask you to press pause, to turn me off for a moment, and to try and think about the other 2 ways using that reversal method that we can make 747. So if you can, get a piece of paper, a pencil, and just spend a bit of time now having a think. Can you make 747 in 2 other ways using that reversal method? Press pause now. Okay, so if you've had a good go at that, or you're not quite sure and you want a hint, let's have a look. I need to try and make 747 in that way. So a couple of different ways we could try it, but I think I'm going to start looking at the units maybe. Up here I did 1 plus 6 was 7, so I might just try maybe, let's go for 2 plus 5 is 7. Now, if it was the reversal method we're using, that would end up being a 5 in the hundreds there and a 2 in the hundreds there, wouldn't it? Because it would have to read the same forward as backwards. So 2 plus 5, 7 in the units. 500s plus 200 is 700, but I need 2 numbers that add together to give a 4 here. And it's got to read in the reversal way. So that has to be the same digit, doesn't it? It has to be the same digit. And I think it's going to be 2. 522 written in reverse would be 225. Add it together, yes, and that is correct. So well done if you got that solution. You might want to press pause now again and think, well, actually, yeah, I think I can get the next one. But if you're just checking your answers, here we go, is the next one. So I had 1 plus 6 in the units, 2 plus 5 in the units. I think it's going to be maybe 3 plus 4. And I'm trying to use systematic way of thinking here, I'm trying to have a system. I did 1 plus 6, then I did 2 plus 5, now I'm doing 3 plus 4. So in mathematics, sometimes we have a systematic approach to things. So have a think about that if you can. The reversal, of course, would be like that, the 4 and the 3 in the hundreds. And again, I think I'm going to need the same digit in the middle there, the 2 tens and 2 tens. So 3 plus 4, 7, 2 tens plus 2 tens, 4 tens, 4 plus 3 hundreds, 700. Yes. And I think I found the other 2 ways of making 747. Fantastic if you manage to make those 2 or find those 2 other ways of making 747. Fantastic. What now? We think, well, is that it? No. We've got a lot more thinking, a lot more mathematics we can do, because now I'm going to ask you, challenge you to try and find a similar way of constructing 2 different numbers, 2 different answers. So can you find 3 ways of making 707? using that reversal method. That's the sum, that's the total you're aiming for. Can you find 3 ways of making 766? So can you find 3 ways of making each of these number totals? Can you find 3 ways? Again, it'd be great if you could press pause now and have a good look at that. Turn your screens off, just turn your screens down, maybe put your phone to one side. Don't look back at the video for a bit of time and try and solve that on pencil and paper if you can. 3 ways of finding 707, 3 ways of finding 766. Okay, so if you're looking for some answers or you've tried that and you're not really sure where it's going, let me try and give you a hint now. I'll start with 707. And I remembered last time that in the digits, in the units column, I had 1 plus 6 was 7. So I'm going to see if I can still do that same way. Let me just have a quick look and see if I can still do that idea of trying to make 707. Can I do it just by using in the units column 1 plus 6 is 7. The reversal would be 6 plus 1. So can I do that? What digit? Oh, no, 0, isn't it? Yes, 0. 0 plus 0 is 0. So 1 plus 6 in the units, 0 tens and 0 tens, 0 tens, 600 plus 100, 700. So yes, there's one solution that works already. If that's enough as a hint to get you going again, press pause again. See if you can find those other 2 ways of getting a total of 707. Let's have a look at those new, the 2 ways of getting this. 707 we're looking for. 707, quite near the edge there. Let's have a look. Before, if you remember, in my system I had 1 plus 6 up above. So let's see now. Maybe I could use 2 plus 5 is 7. The reversal for the hundreds would be 500s plus 200 is 700. What could go in the middle there? I think again, I could use zeros. And yes, 502 plus 205 is 707. If you want to press pause now and get the last one, go ahead and press pause. But if you're checking your answers, I think it is, isn't it? Yes, 3 and 4. Well done. If you got all 3 of these without any hints at all, that's not a problem. If you need a hint just to get you on your way, if you've never really been thinking mathematically like this before, where you're problem solving, not just going through a rote method of learning. Sometimes this is a taught method that you can use, that you can learn to be better at problem solving. You can, when challenged, get better at this way of thinking in mathematics. So if you've never done it before, no problem. Get the hints and you'll build it up over this 10-week course, hopefully. 766. You might want to pause now and have another go at that. But let's see if I can make 766 as a total now. I'm a little bit less sure of this because here my units and my hundreds have the same digit. Now I've got a different digit, but I need to make 6. So I'll start with my bit of systematic way. I'll go with 1 and 5. 1 and 5. 1 and 5 makes 6. Now reversal, 500s plus 100 would, well, that wouldn't be 700. So there's something else going on here, isn't there? There's something else going on. What could it be? If that's a tip for you, then you think you've got it, press pause again. But here it is. I think you may have worked it out. Well done if you have. You need to be doing some carrying. We can't have just 3 and 3 making 6 because 531 plus 135 is not 766. It can't be 3 and 3. But there is a single digit number which you can add to itself that ends with a units digit of a 6. And you're right, well done. It's 8, isn't it? 8 plus 8 is 16. And there we get 8 tens plus 8 tens is 16 tens, 500s plus 100 is 700, and we've got it. Absolutely amazing if you manage to get that. Really, really good. A bit trickier, that one. Well done. Okay, if you think that's enough of a hint now to give you the next ones, go and try and do them yourself. Press pause. If not, here we go. Or you're checking your answers now. Here come your answers. I should have said earlier on, it doesn't matter if you do 581 plus 185 or 185 plus 581. That's the same thing. That's considered the same sum. So whichever one is on the top and whichever one's below, it's the same sum. So when we're looking for three ways, we're looking for three completely different numerical answers. Some of you may have tried to do this kind of thing. 0 plus 6 is 6, and then 6 and 0. But just remember that if it was a three-digit number, we wouldn't write with a 0 as a leading digit. That would be a two-digit number. Yeah, so 6 and 0 doesn't work. You may have tried that earlier on. But let's go for that system of 2 plus 4 being 6. The reversal would be 4 plus 2, wouldn't it? I think we're going to need that carrying again because 4 plus 2 is not 7 in the hundreds column there. So again, I think it is just the 8 tens plus 8 tens is 16 tens. And yes, look at that. Lovely. We get 4 hundreds plus 2 hundreds plus 100 is 700s. So 482 plus 284 is 766. Lastly, we're on it now, aren't we? We've got this system going. 2 plus 4 is 6. It's going to be 3 and 3, I think, maybe. The reversal would be 3 and 3. I think we're going to have 8 tens plus 8 tens, making 16 tens again. Excuse me. And there we are. Yes, it works. Fantastic. So if you got all three of those answers or 6 of those answers without really getting any hints at all, amazing. If you needed some hints along the way, that's also absolutely fine. We're building our strength in mathematics. We're building our ability to come up with these answers ourselves. Okay, we're going to really be, I should have said before, really, when we start this course, we're really trying to prepare ourselves for mathematics for the future. And that's why I've called it Preppy Maths. We're going to be more prepared. And I've dressed a bit preppy, got my collars up, and I'm ready to do some mathematics. So here we are. There's our answers for 766. One little note here. We'll do this kind of thing along the way, I think, something really interesting. 383 reads the same forwards and backwards. 383, 383. 482, 482. That's a bit different, but 383, 383, the same number reads the same backwards and forwards, 383. And that's called, you may know this already, but that's called a palindrome. A palindrome. A palindrome is something that reads the same forwards as backwards. So names like Hannah, if you look at the name Hannah, if you read it backwards, H-A-N-N-A-H, that's a palindrome. And if it's a number, we call it palindromic. So that's the adjective that describes a number that reads the same forwards as backwards. So 383 right there, 383, 383 is a palindromic number. It reads the same forwards as backwards. And what's really cool is there's a lovely palindrome in mathematics. Really ready for this? Never, odd, or even. Read that backwards. Never, odd, or even. It's a lovely palindromic sentence. Never odd nor never odd or even. There we go. Right, so where do we go now? We've solved this problem. We've found three ways of making 707, 766. You might think that's it. No, there's always more questions you can ask in mathematics. And sometimes you might think of yourself, well, yeah, I've thought of some questions already myself, and that's the next level up of maths thinking. But I'll give you the prompt for what is coming next. We found that we can make 747, 707, and 766 in this way. So I'm just going to write them at the side of the page here. We've made 747, 707, and 766 in this way. So here's the next level question in mathematics. Again, the technique is still just adding, but this is mathematical thinking and problem solving. Let me see. I want you to try and find all of the numbers between 700 and 800 where this is possible. It's possible to create a sum using this reversal method. Can you find all of the numbers between 700 and 800? At this time, I'd like to give a big shout out to Don Stewart and Anita Straker. These questions that Enrich have used were based on some work they did. So thank you so much for this. And we're trying to kind of use these clever maths puzzles to really boost people's engagement and problem solving in mathematics at this tough time. So there are 10 of these. There are 10 to find. 10 to find. 10 numbers where between 10 numbers between 700 and 800 where you can find the sums in this way using a reversal method. 747, 707, and 766 we found already. There's 3 of them. There's 7 more. So can we find them? So press pause now if you think you can, and just have a go. Try and see what techniques could you think you could use to try and find one of those other 7 numbers. Press pause now. Now, if you need a little bit of a hint, in mathematics, how do we work in mathematics? Well, in mathematics, if we're not sure, it's a funny technique, but we just try. We just try something and see if it works. So I need a number between 700 and 800. So let me think. I could probably just think about trying to find a number with 7 in the hundreds. So I'm going to write 7 in the hundreds, and I won't know what goes elsewhere. But my technique above, if you remember, my technique above was to write things like 1 plus 6 is 7, reversal 6 plus 1. But I'm going to start with the hundreds now to make sure that I get something in the 700s. Now 6 plus 1 in the units, yeah, I've got the answer there, it's 7. So what could I put in here to get a sum? But that sum has to be not different to 747 or 707 or 766. Now, if that's enough of a tip for you, pause and then see how many more you can find. But if you're here checking answers or you think you need a little bit more of a tip, here we go. So I think if I put 0 and 0 in there, I'd end up with 707. I've already got that one. If I put 2 and 2 in there, I'd get 747. I've already got that one. But I haven't put a 1 in there, have I? How about that? So that reversal method, 116, 611, I get 727. So I can make 727 in this way. I can make 727 in this way. I wonder if I can find 3 ways of making 727. I bet you I can. Now we've got this experience. Okay, now we've got this experience. At any time, press pause if you think you know what's coming. Maybe I could use 5 and 2 there and 1 and 1. Yeah, there's a second way of finding 727. Oh, and there's another way maybe as well. I'm thinking maybe going for a 4 and a 3. This time I've got the bigger units digit on the top, haven't I? But I think there's the third way of finding 727. So yes, there's my 4th number in this list of different way. I can use this reversal method of finding 727. So is there another number I can add to this list? Another number I can add to this list. So have a really good think about that. Pause if you want to and spend a bit of time thinking. Let's have a look. Well, I'm going to stick with my idea. I'm going to stick with my idea of getting my hundreds as 7. I'm going to go back to this because I still think, and many of you may have realized I could have had a different option in there, couldn't I? I think I could have had a different option. I think I could have. If I put 0 in, I get 707. If I put 1 in, I get 727. If I put 2 in, I get 747. But of course, I could put 3 in, couldn't I? I could put 3 in there. 136 and 631 as the pair. And that, I think, 6 plus 1, 7, 3 tens plus 3 tens, 6 tens, 100 plus 600, 767. And that is not a number that I've got in my list already. So there's adding to my list. I need 10 of them. I've got 5 so far. I'm doing really well. I bet you there's 2 other ways of doing that as well. I bet you there is. I bet I could get the 5 and the 2 in the units and the 4 and the 3 in the units and get 2 different ways of getting that total of 767. But my question now is, can I find these 10 totals that I can make in this way? I've got 5 so far. Again, press pause if you want to. Have a think. But I think there's one more option if you're checking your answers. I think I can stick with 1, 6 and 6, 1. And I can put a 4 in the middle. I think I can put 4 tens and 4 tens. I think I can do it this way. 6 plus 1 is 7. 4 tens plus 4 tens is 8 tens. 100 plus 600 is 700. So another total I can make is 787. And again, excuse me, I bet you I could find 3 different ways of doing that one. Changing the units to 5 and 2 and 4 and 3 again. But I'm on this search, aren't I? Now, what would happen? What would happen if I continued my little system now of thinking, yes, I know I've got this, I'm being really clever. I'll just put a 5 in there now. Would that work? Let's have a look. Oops, I'm trying to keep my color coding to blue for answers. I don't know why, I just think it looks a bit better. Let's see. 6 plus 1, 7, 5 tens plus 5 tens. Ooh, 10 tens. I've got a bit of carrying. 100 plus 600, 700 plus 1 is 807. You might think, yes, I've done it. No problem. But, oops, what's the problem? Yeah, I think you've spotted it. Well done. Yes, this number, although it works, it's not in my range. I wanted to try and find numbers between 700 and 800. This is 807. It's too big. I've gone too big. So that wouldn't be an answer. So if you've got some answers now, if you're checking your answers and you suddenly think, oh no, I forgot about that. I'm only looking for answers at the moment between 700 and 800. Keep that answer. Keep it. But it's not quite an answer for what we want right now. But keep it because there's some other problems coming later on. As you've probably imagined, we can always extend to the next level and think of further questions in mathematics. That's the joy and beauty of mathematical thinking. So what I've got to try and do now, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got to find 4 more. But that didn't work. So what am I going to do? I'm going to give you a bit of a tip now. Here we go. Do you remember back here, there was a problem here where we did some carrying. When we found 766, we had to do some carrying. So the units digit was 6 in the final answer, but the hundreds digit was 7. So it was a mismatch in the answers units and hundreds digits. So the ones I've just found, they've had a matching unit and hundreds digit, but this one here stands out a little bit now, doesn't it? Because it doesn't follow that pattern. So let me see if I can try and replicate that and try and use my systematic way of thinking to try and follow that, to try and get a 6 in the units, and then to try and get something different in the hundreds. Let's see. So I'll start with a 1 and a 5, and a 5 and a 1, because that's the reversal. But I'm going to try now to get something in the middle here that makes a carry. Now that carry wouldn't work with the 6 and 1 because I'd end up with a number that's too big. But here now, I've only got 600s here at the moment, so that carrying would make it 700. Now what could it be? What tens digit could I have here to enable a carry? Well, at least 5, right? It's got to be at least 5 because 5 plus 5 is 10. So let's try it out. Let's try 5. 5 tens plus 5 tens is 10 tens. 10 tens. And 500s plus 100 is 700. Does that work? 551 reversed 155. Yes, look at that. We've managed to create the answer 706, a new number on my list. Between 700 and 800, so it ticks my box there. And yes, I've got another answer. And I bet you I could find some different versions of that, maybe with a 2 and a 4 in the units as well. I bet you I could. But at the moment, I'm on this search, aren't I? But I think I can follow that pattern and maybe come up with a couple more answers. Let's see if I can follow that pattern of using the 6 in the digits, in the units digit, and getting that carry going. So let's have a look. I'm going to keep a 6 in as my answer in my units digit. Let's see if I can do it. So, oops, let's see, a 6 there. Let me see. I've got a 1 and a 5 to start with. I'm going to go with my systematic way of doing it, a 2 plus a 4. So a 4 and a 2. And I'll put the 5 in the middle. Oh, I'm doing the same title. I'm doing the same total here. That would end up with the same total if you see that one through. I didn't want to do that. What I wanted to try and do was find a new total. Let's see. I'll stick with my 1 and 5. 5 and 1, but I think I've got another choice, haven't I? I put 5 plus 5 tens is 10 tens with a carry there, but I could put 6 plus 6 tens, so 561 plus 165. That would give me 6 tens plus 6 tens. Move that up a little bit. 6 tens plus 6 tens is 12 tens. 12 tens. And 500 plus 100 plus 100 is 700. So I've made 726. Is that on my list already? Is that on my list? Let's have a look. No, 726 is not on my list. So there's another new number. Press pause now if you think you can go through now and find the last. How many's left? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 8. There's 2 more totals between 700 and 800 I can make using this same method. If you think you can do it, press pause. If you're just checking answers, here we go. Here we go. I think I've got a couple more options. Now, I'm quite confident I know what I'm doing now, but mathematical confidence is a really great thing. I think it's a really fantastic thing for your learning in school, but always see it through. Always see the maths through. No matter how confident you are, I think, yes, I've done this, I've finished it. See it through. I've done 6 plus 6. I think I can do 7 plus 7 in the tens. I think that's going to give me a new total. Let's just check and see. 1 plus 5 is 6. 7 tens plus 7 tens is 14 tens. 5 plus 500 plus 100 is 700s. 746 is a total I haven't yet got. And lastly, I think my 10th total, I'm going to try and get a 6 there again. I can still use 1 and 5, I think. I can have 5 and 1 there. That looks a little bit confusing, so I'm just going to rub that little 1 out there. And go back there. Apologies, just trying to really neaten it up after saying I really want to finish this off properly. What was it? Oh yeah, I've had 5 in the tens digit, 6 in the tens digit, 7 in the tens. I think I'm going to put 8 in the tens digit. 8 in the tens digit. 8 plus 8 tens is 16 tens. 500 plus 100 plus 766. Is that my last number total? Looking back, no, I've already got that one. That was the example up the top, you see. Oh, that was the one at the top. So just when I thought I was really, really confident, I'm still confident, but you've got to see things through in mathematics, haven't you? And just double check and make sure, and look at that. I've made a little error there. So that's the one I'd already done. Got carried away there. Let's go through and just finish this one off now as best we can. I've already done that 8. Let me just do that. Let's finish off though. 1 plus 5, 5 plus 1 in the hundreds. Already done the 8, done the 5, 6, 7. 8 was one of the first examples we had. It's the 9 that we didn't do. So there we are. 1 plus 5 is 6. 9 plus 9 tens plus 9 tens is 18 tens. 18 tens. 18 tens. 500 plus 100 plus 100. 700. 786. I'm pretty sure I could do that in 3 different ways, changing this to 2s and 4 and 3 and 2 and 4 and 3 and 3, getting another one of those palindromic numbers. But I think I've solved my problem. I was looking for 10 totals which I can get in this way. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yes, we've seen it all through. I've got all the working there, all the evidence. I've communicated everything. My thinking is all there. And I can probably explain to someone if they say to me, what kind of strategies did you use? What system did you use? I think I could probably explain it. So that's absolutely amazing. Now, what could you do next? I bet some of you are thinking, what kind of questions could I ask next? Could I take this any further? Could I really challenge myself in any other way? Well, yes, of course you can in maths. Of course you can in maths. You might want to think, how many totals like this are between 300 and 400? I wonder how many there are. Are there 10? Less than 10? More than 10? I don't know. We've done between 800. Oh, what about between 800 and 900? How many are there? Is it always going to be 10 or is it different to 10? You could even go further than 1,000 and say, well, I wonder how many totals like this can be made in this way to make a total of 1,200, 1,300. So you can always find more questions in mathematics. And sometimes these things are just start points. But if you've done that today and you've got anywhere near those answers, okay, anywhere near those answers, you've done amazingly well. This is our first lesson in our first week of our first Preppy Maths course. I'm dressed preppy. I'm thinking preppy. This is for anyone who wants to improve their mathematics skills, whatever age you are. Certainly some parents I know will want to know what kind of maths their kids are doing at school and what's the difference between just doing maths and mathematical thinking. Well, here's a really good example. So please join me, look at my next video. We'll be doing some shape work next time up in next lesson in this week one work. But thank you for watching, and we'll be back very soon. 10 weeks. Let's try and get our maths boosted up, and let's think preppy. Thank you. Bye-bye.